Oh, come on now. It's time for the Magic Turtle Monday Morning Show, the variety talk show about all the colorful things that make life great. So what's going on? How do you feel? How's your knee? So after last episode where I made a painting based on the prompt of pain, and after making a joke about a painting based on the prompt of pain, I've been thinking a lot about the myth that artists have to suffer to create good art. There are a lot of memes about this, a lot of posts going around right now debunking it, but I think there's an ounce of truth to it. Wait, how much is an ounce? How do you convert amounts of truth? Oh, it turns out that an ounce of truth is equal to 14.3 grams of knowledge and 1 sack of lies. I don't know. So to explore this notion of the tortured artist, we must first ask the question, where does this concept even come from? The thing is, I mostly think that pain and suffering simply get in the way of what a person is trying to do. It only makes things harder when a person might otherwise be perfectly healthy and lucky and have tons of excess time and energy to create art. The question is whether their life experience shines through in what they're making. And here's where the grain of truth comes in. How much truth is in a grain? Probably not a lot, but if you let that grain sit there long enough, it'll ferment into alcohol and people will start getting real honest real fast. Speaking of which, I need a boost to get through this video. Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, including here. I'm just kidding, this is a bottle of frozen sparkling water. I roll it under my feet when they hurt. Speaking of which, let's get back to the topic of pain and suffering. All suffering is relative to the person. You don't get to decide how much difficulty someone else's struggle is adding to their life or how much pain it causes them. Sure, you might be able to handle certain obstacles better than they are, but that doesn't make them weak. Everybody's pain is valid no matter what, and I think that's one of the things that makes movies and songs and stories about hardship more compelling. Because we understand that pain is real, even if we've never felt that particular pain. It starts to get less compelling when you get like rich celebrities like writing songs about their boyfriends, or like bands writing about how hard it is to be on tour. Like, okay, we don't really believe you that you're struggling. Like, it's just harder to feel sorry for them. And I think that's where people get the idea that real artists actually do suffer. Like, they're in the thick of it. If everything was easy, art is at risk of seeming sort of vapid and superficial and out of touch, and just plain old not relatable to the masses who are struggling to pay their rent, or pay their medical bills, or their student debt. It's kind of like the topic of YouTuber burnout, where I hear lots of wealthy YouTubers complaining about how hard it is to have to stay home and crank out videos in order to stay relevant. Like, meanwhile, all your viewers are watching you complain about this while they're getting ready for their shift at their minimum wage job. So excuse me if I don't pity you too much. But again, I should remember that suffering is relative, and I should add that I make literally $0 off of YouTube. It's a labor of love, and an emphasis on the word labor. Yes, YouTube is worse than childbirth. I do think the idea that suffering makes good art is true on a case-by-case basis. Like, I love the album Down There by A.V. Terror, mostly because I connect to the emotional stress that's kind of reflected in it. If that had the same sound and melodies and everything, but the lyrics were about, like, fast cars and hot girls, I wouldn't like it. So in that sense, yes, unequivocally, pain and suffering can make better art. But also, the artists can fake it, and how difficult is it for us to tell when the pain inserted into a piece of artwork is authentic? A lot of very good novels show people with very difficult lives that are completely fabricated, and those are still emotionally resonant. So who's to say? What do you think? Most of all, my takeaway on the topic of suffering in art is that no matter what role your struggles play in your life, you should continue to make art through those struggles. So whether it's fueling your inspiration or not, or getting in the way, art is still worth it. Does that make sense? Like, it's worth it to suffer to make art if that's what's necessary to make. Especially if your suffering is just unrelated on the side, then it's still worth it. Like, for me, art is a distraction from the pain of existence. Pain and creativity are only connected if you feel inspired to connect them. That's the main point. Otherwise, my only advice is don't let your pain get in the way of what you do want to make. Speaking of small things that make life a little bit better, it's time to try a new thing. Magical Turtle Spellbook of Magical Turtle Spells will reveal the candy that we're going to be tasting today. Oh, it's these jelly-filled taffies. These are very bizarre. I have no idea what these are going to taste like. Look at that. It's got like almost like crystals in there that are see-through. It's quite beautiful. Taste. Good so far. Oh, kind of tastes like Fruit Loops. There's nothing really jelly about it. It's nothing special. Just sort of tastes like taffy. I'll give it 3 out of 5 turtle shells. Quick update as I continue to chew. There's like a cream flavor that kind of came out, almost like a caramely taste. That improved the taste quite a bit. So let's upgrade it to 4 out of 5. Say, Spellbook, what else we got in store? Today's pop-up motion picture show will also be on the topic of art. I just uploaded a video about how to paint, which is of course a parody about how to paint, and I have one more segment that's very similar to this that I made way back when, and that is the painful art that we're going to be experiencing today. I give you How to Paint version 2, the prequel. First we gotta start with the ground, which we know goes on the bottom there. This is the dirt, and then of course the blue is the sky, which goes on top. Everyone knows it's just a straight line that makes the top of the sky. We learned that in preschool. We gotta be able to see, so let's make a nice sun in the sky. There's a beautiful sun. Still not enough plant life yet, so we better make that a sunflower. But something's gotta be in the sky. We gotta be able to know what time of day it is, so there's a moon. There we go. There's still not enough plants. Better make that a moonflower. There we go. We're shaking things up. I still don't think this is botanical enough, so we're going to add some actual live leaves here. Going to stick those on there so we can know that it's about plants. And for getting that realistic, we might as well add real soil, real potting soil to the soil part. There we go. Soil. I think it's looking nice. I could use some more flowers, maybe some lavender, but I don't have any lavender colored paint, so I'm just going to use this lavender hand cream that my wife has. Squirt some of that out. Smear that on there. That'll be nice, and it'll make it smell nice. And while we're at it, let's just add one final organic touch, a full banana. How's that? You know, we always open up to the middle of this spell book. I don't know, maybe we should find out what's on the next page. That's right, it's time for Education Station. You know, there are so many popular educational videos on YouTube. It's time that I get a piece of that fruit from the tree of knowledge. You know what they say, an apple of the knowledge of good and evil a day keeps the Lord at bay. Today's educational topic, microbiology. The human cell is comprised of 12 other cells contained by cell walls which work to keep out immigrant cells, but it requires a lot of resources to build those cell walls, and we have to outsource those to the blood, the sweat, and the tears. With their power combined, they make the form of organs. Organs have a lot of functions, most of which don't work. Your body is just full of these things called germs. There's probably 100. They incubate inside the yolks of your cell nucleuses. But they work to keep you healthy by killing the demons. But every germ is identical twin to its brother because its cells multiply by the process of microbiology, which is whenever a cell goes, it's kind of like when you put your butt on a copier and you print out a bunch of your butt. That's what cells do to themselves. It's like being sliced right in half. And then the other half is your evil twin, so they usually try to kill the other cells, but that's why we have amoebas, which are like the police of the body, but sometimes they have a problem with shooting the wrong kind of cell. Just if it looks different or is a different color or something like that, they'll just kill it. And that's microbiology. I think you learned something today. Stop what you're doing. I think you know what time it is. Turtle's magical tips on how to exist, where you ask me questions and I give you advice on how to live better, because clearly I've got it figured out. I forgot to swap this painting out for a new one, so here's an advice question from MustardFire22. Are mean people meaning me and others meaning? Not with this Congress. Although the government is shut down, so yes. Here's a question from Saxophone. If I go left at the northern entrance to Westfall, will that eventually lead to Stranglethorn Vale? This sounds like a reference to the Chronicles of the Golden Compass Thrones, which I don't know as well as the other Harry Potter books, but I'll tell you what, I'll ask Siri. Hey Siri, if I go left, something about Westfall thing?
Occasionally.
Thanks, Siri. Here's a question from Banana Wallpaper. How do I live forever so I don't have to worry about doing things before I die? One word. Cryogenically frozen sleep apnea stasis pod. Get yourself one of those big chest freezers from like Home Depot or something like that. Plug it in, open it up, fill it full of frozen pizzas and ice cream. You won't live very long, but you'll enjoy it a lot more. Cartoon Freak 9 says, find a new home for my cat. Your cat needs a home? Well, I can't. I don't want your cat because I don't even like cats in this picture. It's of a dog, I'm pretty sure. So just don't check your messages. There won't be my address there, and I won't take your cat and love him forever. Next up is in the works. What project is in the pipeline? It's still this painting. Making some progress. Gonna add a lot of crazy stuff here, more details to these flowers, some more tingly things coming out of there, some more pooshoos coming out of the stamens of those bad boys. It's gonna be good. Check back. And speaking of art projects, it's time again for the Sincere Art Prompt Challenge, where I go to a random art prompt generator and I get a prompt and I do a project out of it sincerely and not as a joke. Our prompt today is peace. Okay, that's simple. Kind of nice, kind of a contrast to the pain of last time, peace and pain. So I'm going to do a project called Peace, and I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, and here's what I did for Peace. Since it's sort of the response to the pain painting, I actually painted it on the back of it, but then I didn't anticipate getting like green splatters on that painting, so that one's a little bit ruined. But it's sort of like a, like a yin-yang thing, where it's like the harmonies of nature are in balance and sort of intertwining, and in the sort of the style of these other paintings that I do, because I wanted to do like a smaller version of that. I might start doing more small paintings. I don't know, get them done quicker. What do you think? There it is. Peace. And for the final segment today is a new one called 3 Cool Stuff. This is where I tell you about 3 cool things I've been enjoying recently, and it's not a recommendation that you should go out and get it or saying like, hey, this is sponsored, you should buy it. It's just something I'm enjoying. Number 1 is this book, Snowblind, which I found in a used bookstore, so the author didn't even get any money for this, but it's a great like supernatural ghost story horror thing, which is, it sounds maybe a little bit corny, but it was actually quite unique and very engrossing, and I sincerely enjoyed it. The next cool stuff is a brand new album by the band They Might Be Giants called The Escape Team. It's a very bizarre concept album about 12 mutants, and each of them has their own song, and it's like the story about how they were deformed or their history before that. All of the songs are very funny, often grotesque and horrifying, but it's very unique and it's worth a listen. There's even a comic that goes with it. You can see the different characters here. Highly recommended. It's a lot of fun. And the last one is a video game for the Nintendo Switch called Fitness Boxing, which was sort of a surprise for me. It's like a fitness rhythm game where you punch and box along to the music. It's actually a surprisingly good workout, and it's really easy to just like kind of plug it in and get a small amount of calories burned while in the comfort of your own home. So that's a lot of fun. Again, not a sponsor. God, I hate when YouTubers say, not a sponsor, as if that's some sort of funny joke. Does anybody know, are they like legally required to say that? I don't think so, so please stop saying that. It's annoying, and I realize I just did. Hey, that's the end of the video. Thanks once again for joining me at the Magic Turtle Monday Morning Show. I hope you had a gay old time. Be sure to give me a like and a subscribe and a comment and ring that little notification dingle hopper. And remember, there's nothing better than a good Monday, except maybe a great Friday or a stupendous Saturday. That's even better, like even higher level.